Be sure to check the links in the description below. Okay, so let's get started with the video. The fifth product on our list is the Intel Core i5-10600K. This is our best budget Intel gaming CPU. The Intel Core i5-10600K offers great frame rates while gaming and includes hyper-threading to boost CPU performance for an affordable price of about $215. It comes packed with 6 cores and 12 threads, and the K in the name means that the CPU is unlocked for overclocking, giving the 4.1 GHz base clock frequency a boost up to 4.8 GHz. And looking at its pure refresh rate capabilities, it makes for great action-focused gaming. Also included in the build is the Intel UHD Graphics 630 integrated graphics processor, and the CPU has a pretty high TDP of 125 watts. I think that the integrated graphics processor will save you the extra cost of needing a discrete video card for your PC build, as it can carry the graphical workload needed for most casual gaming. You'll need a separate liquid cooler to keep temperatures down, but Intel did an amazing job of sanding down the layers between the die of the chip and the CPU cooler to make sure temperatures don't exceed 85 degrees Celsius. The chip is only compatible with motherboards that have Intel's LGA 1200 socket, the best being a Z490 board, especially if you plan on overclocking the CPU. It has a very strong single-core performance and also good multi-core capabilities, and the right motherboard will give the chip enough power to push it to its limit and get the best performance for your games. The CPU does really well running games at 1080p with performance comparable to Intel's previous 2 generations of i7 chips. That's pretty impressive for an i5 chip like this one, and I think you'll enjoy the frame rate it can handle while playing some of the AAA titles of the last few years. The Intel Core i5-10600K is the best budget Intel gaming CPU with great overclocking, the ability to render smooth frame rates, and an integrated graphics processor. It's a great choice for a casual gamer or someone new to PC building. The fourth product on our list is the AMD Ryzen 5 5600X. This is a great AMD gaming CPU for the money. The AMD Ryzen 5 5600X is a great choice at about $300, with strong performance capabilities at the price to run your game smoothly, striking a good balance between performance and price. The 6-core 12-thread processor of the Ryzen 5 5600X works as an above-average value, maximizing CPU with improved architecture to reduce latency and boost performance. Unlike previous chips with dual cores, AMD designed the Ryzen 5 5600X with a single 8-core complex, centralizing the design to reduce travel time between cores, keeping gamers in mind with the improved performance. It lacks the integrated graphics that some competitor CPUs have, but I think the performance for price value is good enough that it makes up for it. It also helps that AMD bundles the CPU with a Wraith Stealth cooler, which runs effectively and quietly. Gamers who are trying to stay on budget while getting as much power as they can out of their PC build will like the socket compatibility on offer. You can use the Ryzen 5 5600X with an X570 or B550 AMD board to get the most out of it. This chip really shines while running games at 1080p, and I think you'll love the incredible frame rates it can produce, hitting benchmarks of 727 frames per second, showing off what AMD's engineers are capable of. It can also keep temperatures down, with thermals never going above 74 degrees Celsius, even while overclocking, and the temperature generally holds at around 70 degrees Celsius. The speed it can reach is up to 4.6 GHz when overclocked, which is an impressive 20% increase over the base speed. The AMD Ryzen 5 5600X shows true value as the best AMD gaming CPU for the money, with redesigned engineering to boost performance, a high overclocking threshold, and a CPU cooler to sweeten the deal. You'll want this in your build if you're looking for an affordable AMD CPU with premium performance. The third product on our list is the AMD Ryzen 7 5800X. This is our best mid-range gaming CPU. Coming in at $425, the AMD Ryzen 7 5800X brings incredible multi-threaded performance and high boost clock speeds to power your games. The 8-core 16-thread CPU is up to the challenge of providing a next-level gaming experience. It has all the power you need for both 1080p and 1440p gaming, thanks to AMD's engineers getting the most out of the 8-core build. It has a base clock frequency of 3.8 GHz with an overclock boost of up to 4.7 GHz, which is powerful for a mid-range CPU, and support for the AM4 socket means you can use it on a variety of AMD motherboards, including the X570 and B550 boards. Unlike the Ryzen 5 5600X, the 7 5800X doesn't have a cooler included with it, but I think that's forgivable when AMD packs as much processing power into their chips as they do to make them worth the cost. And the power is impressive, with the 5800X dominating multi-core tests against comparably priced CPUs and excels across the board with gaming performance. The 8 cores are more than enough to handle your 1080p game library, and this chip never goes above 69 degrees Celsius while running at base clock or overclock speeds. There are a lot of innovations here, including the 105-watt TDP that helps keep the 5800X cooler, even during the most demanding games. This chip has been designed so well that it already squeezes almost all the performance capabilities out of the silicon before even overclocking. Pretty much any further overclocking will only provide diminishing returns on frame rate. The AMD Ryzen 7 5800X is the best mid-range gaming CPU with enough cores to comfortably handle any 1080p game without overclocking, the flexibility to connect to the AMD motherboard of your choice, and a thermal design that keeps it cool under intense workloads. It's a great option if you want to give your mid-range gaming PC a boost and still have power left over. The second product on our list is the Intel Core i9-11900K. This is our best high-end Intel gaming CPU. The Intel Core i9-11900K is priced around $550 and delivers rapid single-core clock speeds and is a standout performer that can handle 4K gaming and VR experiences. This powerful CPU is Intel's latest flagship processor and the head of its 11th generation Rocket Lake line, boasting 8 cores, 16 threads, and a base clock frequency of 3.5 GHz with a maximum boost speed of up to 5.3 GHz. On top of that, it includes integrated graphics with Intel's Iris Xe UHD Graphics 750 card with a base clock speed of 350 MHz. The Iris Xe UHD 750 will support one 4K 4096 by 2303 pixel display at up to 60 Hz, or you can connect up to 3 displays in total at lower resolutions. Intel found a sweet spot with its 8 cores for high-end desktop CPU users who really want to push their PC's gaming capabilities and get the best performance they can out of their build. I think you'll like the addition of the core boosting Turbo Boost technology, allowing you to maximize the performance of your PC while gaming. When the cores are being most utilized during a task, they'll receive a speed boost to help them perform better. The Rocket Lake line is built on Intel's Cypress Cove microarchitecture. Making the chip 8 cores allows for more thermal wiggle room, peaking at 88 degrees Celsius with thermal limitations in place, and Intel recommends using a 240mm liquid cooler to keep thermals down. The 11900K provides a solid showing with 1080p games, but the real standout is 4K, where it delivers up to 84 frames per second while also keeping resolutions high. This also makes it optimal for VR gaming, providing detailed and immersive experiences. The solid frame rate performance also makes this CPU ideal for esports players and gamers who use monitors with high refresh rates for online gaming. The Intel Core i9-11900K is the best high-end Intel gaming CPU with a dedicated graphics card that can display games in 4K and frame rate performance that's best for anyone in the competitive gaming scene. The first product on our list is the AMD Ryzen 9 5900X. This is our best overall gaming CPU. The AMD Ryzen 9 5900X is built on a fast and efficient architecture that can handle all your gaming needs and more at around a $550 price tag, and your PC build will dominate when it comes to gaming performance. This is arguably AMD's greatest architecture yet, with a ground-up redesign with performance improvements, including a 19% IPC increase over their previous line of Zen 2 CPUs. It packs in 12 cores and 24 threads with a base clock of 3.7 GHz and a boost clock of up to 4.8 GHz. It also has 64 megabytes of L3 cache, support for PCIe 4.0, and has the same 105-watt TDP as its predecessor, which is impressive engineering. Like the other Zen 3 CPUs on this list, the Ryzen 9 5900X uses the 8-core design to access the L3 cache directly, making core-to-core access faster and more responsive for significant performance improvements to even the most intense games. AMD continues to use its Precision Boost 2 technology to intelligently boost clock frequencies. This isn't the same as overclocking. Instead, clock speeds are raised when there's headroom to do so to ensure the chips continually offer the best performance as they adapt dynamically to your workload. I think you'll really like what this can do for your gaming and other intensive projects, as any chips not being used are powered down to the funnel power to the heat chips being used, and the unused chips help keep thermals down by not producing any heat. The 5900X represents a significant step up in multi-threaded performance by 16%, while the single-core performance also sees a notable boost of 20% compared to the last-gen 3900 XT CPU. This means your games will see an increased performance boost, and paired with an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080, it can easily handle 4K gaming. The AMD Ryzen 9 5900X is the best overall gaming CPU and is an incredible choice if you're looking to build a high-end PC that can handle any gaming, including 4K, and will provide technology to last for years.